Yesterday my life was filled with rain.
Fry's Food Store gives $23,000 to the Association of Arizona Food Banks. On the phone for us talking about that, Brian Simpson. Brian, am I correct on the monetary amount? I hope I didn't over or understate that.
No, you got it exactly right. $23,000 from Fry's Food.
Association of Arizona Food Banks, you are an umbrella as such, and you feed food, you distribute food to other food banks, do you not?
Correct.
And they being?
They are St. Mary's Food Bank, Community Food Bank down in Tucson, United Food Bank, Yuma Community Food Bank. Basically, those food banks canvass the entire state, all 15 Arizona counties. And so we're going to use some of this money to help get them all some food.
Fry's Food Store has been a tremendous partner, not just with the $23,000. I believe they've always been a tremendous partner. Am I not correct?
Oh, you're absolutely correct. They do a lot of making food available, overstock items, things that are about to expire, and local food banks can come and pick those up from any Fry's locations, and they do regularly each week, and it makes a tremendous difference in help keeping the shelves stocked.
And obviously, for fair disclosure, there's many supermarkets and grocery stores in the valley around the state that are generous to the food banks, correct?
Absolutely.
And, of course, as a private citizen, you can buy, shop, send check, donation, of course. Are we seeing an increased need? Every time we have this conversation with either you or the food bank in our area, which distributes to other food banks just locally in our area, they do a fabulous job in Prescott and in northern Arizona. The need always increases. The answer to that question will always be yes.
It certainly will seem that way. Just earlier, well, it was last week, as a matter of fact, the census released new data for the year of 2011 for poverty data, and shows once again that about 1 in 5 Arizonans is living in poverty. And it's what we expected, unfortunately, but it really has been that high for a number of years now since the beginning of the recession.
That seems like an astoundingly high figure. 127,300 Arizonans, when we put it into numbers of people, that's what that translates to. That seems astoundingly high to me.
Yeah, it is very high, but it's seniors, people on a fixed income that don't have a lot of options, a lot of children. These new census data showed that maybe as many as 27% of our children here in Arizona are living in poverty as well. Those are two large populations, and they're really, really struggling. And so it is high, and it is shocking, and hopefully, as the economy improves, we can get people back to work, earning a living wage, and we'll see those numbers go down, hopefully.
Brian, speaking of earning a living wage, the people involved in the number we're talking about, many of them are people with a job. I mean,
absolutely.
These are people who are working but need the assistance.
Absolutely. We see that a lot of times. In general, food banks are seeing about 40% of the clients that they serve are employed. And, it's tough. It's single parent households that are really struggling to provide. It's people maybe working multiple jobs, 2 and 3 part-time jobs. And, they're working hard, but there's just not enough hours in the day. And unfortunately, there's just not enough money in their paychecks to always provide enough food.
Fry's Food Store, their parent company, of course, is Kroger, and they have the Bringing Hope to the Table campaign. It's with partnership with Feeding America. Is that a Kroger campaign?
Correct. It is a Kroger campaign that happens nationwide, and all of the different brands that Kroger operates under, of which Fry's is obviously one.
Uh-huh.
And it encompasses everything that we've talked about. Some direct financial donations, like they made to us. Some of the food that they donate to directly to food banks from the grocery stores. They do some grants to food banks. So if a food bank needed a new truck or a new forklift or some type of improvement like that. There's some grant money available. It's really a neat program.
And obviously a nonprofit organization. You are established in 1984. So we're talking 30 years. Did I figure that correctly?
You did, absolutely.
Okay. And Brian, when food is distributed throughout to the food banks that you early in the interview named and listed, do you work with paid, volunteer? How does your staff work down there? I've never asked you that, I don't think.
Sure. Well, it's a mix of both. The larger food banks do have some paid staff, people that are working hard in the warehouse to get that food out. But it's absolutely the truth that there's not a single food bank out there that couldn't get it done without the help of volunteers. Volunteers really are the lifeblood of the food banks. St. Mary's, for example, last year had the equivalent of 120 full-time employees just in volunteer hours. You think about that. You have salaries, benefits, the whole 9 yards. That's a huge impact to get from volunteers. And so, we always encourage folks, even if you can't give food, if you can't give money, if you've got some time, go down to your local food bank and volunteer, because that makes just as big a difference.
And I say this every time, and I'll say it every time, so people will have to bear with me and just hear it over and over. When you're shopping to supermarket this weekend or any day, look at your basket. There's about half of food in there that you probably don't need, shouldn't be eating, and that can be in another basket donated to the food banks. This is another astounding figure. The 5-member regional food banks distributed 123.2 million pounds of food in the fiscal year, which ended June 30th, 2012. Astounding figures when we bring it home and put the figures in perspective there. Brian, thanks so much for talking with us this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. When we come back, I was told kittens were